9 months, maybe a year. During that time, the person who ran the hub services quit. And so I was kind of battlefield promoted to managing the hub. And so, that is by no means the depth of my experience, but I'm saying I've actually, for a short period, run the department as a whole, managed all the contracts and all that stuff. So I know, all the different models, et cetera. But more when we get into Allergan, as you come to market in the U.S., for certain kinds of products, the hub strategy can be a critical piece as it pertains to, launching and seeking reimbursement. It's like the final piece in the puzzle.
Okay. I got it. So I guess right off the bat, you mentioned it's good for a certain type of products. That's always one of our questions. So I'm just curious, what products do you have in mind when you say that? Or even not products, but therapeutic areas broadly, if it's easier.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? And we can get into, it sort of at depth. So, interrupt me anytime asking questions, but I'll sort of go on a little bit of talk here. So basically, every company and every product tends to think that they need a hub, which is really not true. So if you have, excellent coverage, you have a tier 2 predominantly preferred drug, it's an oral ambulatory product. In other words, people are picking it up at the pharmacy. There's no, hairy nature to, it's not, especially pharmacy product, it's not self-injected. It's not home infused. It's not, any of those things. It's never covered on Part B. It's never split covered on, both Part B and, included in a medical benefit. If it's just a pill, a patch, or, a gel or a cream, oftentimes you do not need a hub. That being said, pharma companies want to have a hub. So, and they want to have a full service hub. I think that's one thing. I think the other thing that's really important to understand is that there are different kinds of hubs. So if you have what I call a full service hub, that would be both. It's interesting because there's sort of multiple like axes you can think about it. But a full service hub would be has shipping, can ship product, whether it's only free goods or paid product, to customers, and has a medical model, right? But then you also have some hubs don't ship, or some have only shipped for free goods, and then some hubs will have a medical model. So, for example, let's go on where you would need a full service hub. Let's say you have we were talking about, I don't really think about it in terms of therapeutic areas, because I think that is not the way to think about it. Because, for example, like you could say, well, oncology, you need it. Well, why do you need a hub in oncology if the drug is always reimbursed and paid for in the doctor's office? Yeah, you could call it a hub, but what you really want is people making sure that I guess it's a hub, but it's much less focused on the patient and potentially more focused on the office. So it's like a reimbursement specialist offering to a practice, and we have to be really careful about what we mean. So when I think about a hub, I'm talking about really focusing on the patient, but including a wraparound to talk to the offices as well, right? I think some people, think about it differently, but in the end, it's much more about if you have a product that has a high medical touch. So, for example, patients are self-administering, it's subcutaneous, it's administered either in an office or a home setting, where you might actually need nurses or even technicians or physicians or trained professional staff to interface with either the patient, the caregiver, or the home infusion nurse. Those kinds of products, I don't see how you could not have a hub, right? And you would need the medical model, because you can't have, God forbid, somebody like, no offense to us on the phone, but I don't want to walk a patient through how to inject something into their arm. You know what I mean? Like that's bad mojo. You need someone who's trained in that. So I think it's much more what I would talk about the modality of the product, right? And then because there's so many things that like they call it a hub for a reason. You're bringing together elements to help with, benefits investigation. You're bringing together elements of potentially moving them into a foundation or onto free goods. You're thinking about, are we shipping bridging medicines? There's just different things that you're doing, and I think that one of the problems with pharma right now is, everybody heard that they need it, right?